My name is Flo Fu. I'm a musician, director. I love aviation so much. People started to call me AirFlo. 14-year-old Alina flew her ultralight to Oshkosh last year. This year, she did it again. Everyone is wondering how she was able to do this. AirFlo knows one of her secrets. She has a very strong ground crew. Her father.
That's outside of plastic.
I am my father's daughter. I know how much effort my father put in to raise me up, and I am forever grateful.
You Flo, they're on their way back. It's how you track any of your kids, you know, you track their phone, you know.
Mine are grown, so I haven't.
Yeah, so there's a thing called Life 360 then I know where she is anytime, you know. No.
3.75. Are you nervous?
No. I just got to be vigilant.
Yeah. Oh, your video last year up here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't have as many cat lives left in me to do that again. You know, it wears me out. You know,
It's a lot, isn't it?
typically keep it about 60 miles is our top.
60 miles?
Somewhere between 30 and
Okay.
so 30 and 60 miles is the range. What was
stops?
well, it's 42 on the way here when we did the whole thing. So it was.
I watched the video the last time. Really interesting.
Yeah, it was quite an adventure.
I imagine.
And then all the attention she's gotten since then has been amazing too. You know, she's gotten all this YouTube action. I didn't quite factor that into the whole equation. You know. So,
More practice. Right.
are you pilot too? Or,
Yes.
So you know that crosswind landings are a thing that you just gotta do over and over and over and over. If she started off at like 5, that's like it was her max because she's floating all over the place. And you can
work your way up.
Now she's like 15. You know, it's like nuts. You know, she can. She's approaching the limit of the airplane.
Yeah.
What is the cost? In the cost. 18.
We have Cessna 172, and that's part of the landing off.
Yeah. So it has a lot of rudder in it. So it doesn't rudder. It just becomes miserable to fly in that kind of weather. You know, it's like banging you around.
Like an airplane.
Yeah, it's not very fun. She's certainly becoming a good pilot. And everybody else is sort of like, wow, she keeps landing these perfect landings. It makes everybody else bad, you know. So she needs to maybe plot. One guy said, "You need to drop a couple in just to make us look good," you know. Every dad should have one of these. Where is your daughter now? You know, thing. You know, make sure she's not over at some young man's house. You know, so that. I don't know. I think I've had enough of that. The airplane, we have to put on her airspeed indicator, and we have to put her radio on. And I haven't set up her headsets yet, but I need to put her GPS and her engine monitoring tool. All these things help her. The engine monitoring tool helps me figure out if the engine is running properly after she flies. And obviously the radio is how she communicates, and the airspeed indicator tells her how fast she's going so she can fly safely. And then I put some cameras on here and there just to video her so I can see how she's doing.
So do you have to do it every day?
Yeah, every day I I put all this stuff on and then I take it all off because I don't want it to get stolen or broken or rained on or something like that and then it not work, you know, the next day. So I put it all in little boxes like this so I don't lose them. So it makes it easier to keep.
He's the pilot and you are the mechanic.
I am the ground crew. Yeah, the support guy. You know, to make sure that it all works out. So put that on there.
And how long is this routine? Like take you 1 hour?
No, maybe 20 minutes or something like that. It's not very difficult to do. I just have to, you know, you might say it's tedious. You know, sometimes it becomes, you know, it feels unnecessary because you've just put it together. Then you've got to take it apart again, and you know, do that over and over. Okay. That's how she pushes that button that activates the radio. And I have to zip tie these up so they don't interfere with her throttle or brakes. After you do it like 500 times, you kind of know where to put the zip ties.
You're a great father, you know. Alina is very successful in aviation. How did you all plan it out and how much effort you put in?
That's a lot of effort, you know, to put in there. Unfortunately, my job, I can spend the time I need to with her to teach her the things she wants to learn, you know. So I feel very fortunate that I'm able to do that. But it doesn't take 5 minutes, you know, to do this.
Yeah, it's lots of patience.
Yeah, and I have to make sure that this is all right, so that so she doesn't get hurt, you know. So that's the important part there. So a lot of people ask questions about like what motor does it have on it, and do I think it's a good motor, or they ask, do I recommend people buy this particular ultralight? And I always answer is that I think basically all the motors that you would find available for ultralights, all the ultralights out there, they are more or less the same. You're not going to find one that is you know, head and shoulders above the next. They all do what they're supposed to do, and if you maintain them and operate them properly, then you shouldn't have any problems. A lot of people shy away from two-stroke engines because they think that the motors are less reliable than four-stroke engines, and I don't think that's the case. I think that the two strokes just need to be operated properly, and if you operate them, then they are very predictable in how they will behave. If you keep your temperatures in line, then they'll operate forever. And that was an important thing for Alina. I mean, it's important that I know how to operate the engine so that Alina can travel thousands of miles without an engine problem. You know, so that's important.
It's been a year since Alina first flew to Oshkosh.
Yeah. So
yeah. What changed in this year, and what progress?
Well, obviously her skills are what's progressed the most. She's become a much better pilot, and she has internalized all of the. She has internalized the act of flying. Whereas at one point she was following procedures, or she was following directions on how to fly, but now she flies instinctually. She doesn't think about what she's doing. I mean, she thinks about it, but she doesn't think about controlling the yoke to control the airplane. She just directly makes the airplane do what she wants it to do. So that's really great for me to hear, because then my confidence in her piloting abilities goes up, and I'm not so worried about her making a mistake. Now I can just focus on making sure that the airplane is everything is fine with the airplane. Like the other day, she was flying and a screw came out of the flap motor.
Oh my God.
It's not a screw that you normally check, but it's a long stainless steel screw that came out, hit her in the head, and fell in her lap. And while she was flying, she picked it up and was like, "What is this?" And she landed. She came in and landed and showed me this long screw, and I had no idea where it went either. So it took us a while to figure out where this screw came from. But she didn't panic. The airplane was flying fine.
From the plane?
Yeah. So she thought maybe something came from outer space or something like that. She didn't know where it came from, but it came from something inside here. This screw came out of what they call a flap motor. It came out of that, and it wasn't a dangerous situation, but it certainly causes concern when you see a piece of your airplane fall into your lap, and you're like, well, what happened here? We've got to make sure. So she landed, and I think the important part is that she didn't panic. She kept on flying the airplane, and she landed, and then she says, well, this is a problem. I've got this screw. We need to figure this out. And since then, we've solved it. We've repaired it and made sure that screw's not going to come out again. Did you see that we painted Alina on the tail?
Show me, please. Oh, yes.
I'm not
yes.
a very good painter, but that's I spray painted Alina on the tail, and it kind of got messy, but I think it looks fun. Yeah, it's been a good airplane. I have to, every once in a while, I have to replace rivets or bolts or something like that. It's not built like a certified airplane, so if you treat it like an ultralight airplane that you need to constantly maintain, it shouldn't get away from you. So it's a good airplane.
So is that why you choose this plane for Alina flew to Oshkosh?
So I chose it for my son to fly to Oshkosh. He flew this airplane in 2019 to Oshkosh, and it has all the conventional controls of an airplane. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It has a yoke. This is like a yoke is what you'll find in most jets, and most modern airplanes have yokes. A lot of the other ultralights have a stick, as a main thing. There's nothing wrong with a stick, or there's nothing particularly good or bad about either one. But when she gets used to flying with a yoke, she can take that experience and translate it directly to another airplane that I plan on teaching her later. So next year she'll be 16. I'll be able to solo her in a certified airplane, so she can start getting her private pilot's license and things like that. It also has flaps that this is the bolt that came out. So there's a switch here, and those flaps come up and down, and that's not common on ultralights. But by having flaps, she now can incorporate that into her landings and takeoffs. She can take off a little sooner and land a little bit more accurately by using those flaps. And at least she knows what they do. So when she, again, gets in another airplane, most other airplanes all have flaps. So that knowledge that she has, she doesn't have to relearn that, when it comes to something else. I have lots of technical things to say if people were really.
Oh yeah, you should tell people the technical thing. I think people are interested.
You want the technical stuff
because
too?
you are the mechanic, you are the ground crew.
Oh, okay.
You should explain on this.
Sometimes those
this
things,
is like the
things-
air show, pilot team. You know,
I guess so.
you guys work together.
So a lot. So sometimes people wonder, well, what sort of skills would you need to build this airplane? I suppose you need some mechanical skills, but not a lot. You need to know how to drill a hole, and then after you drill a hole, you'll need to know how to deburr that hole, and then it's all about fasteners. You have blind rivets. It's a type of rivet, like these here are called blind rivets, and they're very easy to use, and they go in. They are quick to. They're quick fasteners that are easy to assemble. And then you have bolts like this here. This bolt has it's a cadmium plated bolt that has a nylock nut on the other side of it. And those bolts are also pretty easy to use. They're a bit stronger, but the nylock nuts need to be checked every so often, because nylocks is, like this is a nylock here, and this is a nylock up here. They have to be checked because they can wiggle free over time. And then finally we have the ones in the back here. These are castellated nuts that require a cotter pin, and all the really important nuts have this stuff in them, so that if those cotter pins there, you can see the little pin right there that holds that nut so that it doesn't fall off. We need to make, Alina does the pre-checks to make sure that those castellated nuts don't fall off. But if you understand just how to put a nut and bolt together, how to maybe do a cotter pin, drill a hole, that's about all of the skills necessary in order to build this thing. Then it just becomes a couple weeks of time, when you get a bunch of parts in your garage and you start following the very clear directions that Dennis gives you, and you assemble this airplane, and it's not that difficult. So I would say, I would suggest people not be very intimidated if they wanted to get started. Just dive in, and if you mess up, like if you really screw up, you can always get a new part. That if you screw up a part, you can call up the factory and say, hey, I totally destroyed this one part here, and they'll send you another one. It'll cost a little bit of money.
Did you build this Alina's plane as a kit, and how long does that take?
So I didn't build this kit I didn't build the kit from scratch because I had never built one before. I wanted to make sure that it was done properly, or I didn't understand. I didn't have somebody like me telling me in the future that it's really easy. So I ordered it completely done back in 2018. I ordered it, and but after and when you get it, you get wing and a tail, and it takes an hour to put the thing together. But since then, I've learned that I shouldn't have been so cautious. I mean, my cautiousness was not necessary. I could have just bought it and put it together just from parts, and it would have been easy. But that would take about 2 weeks, to put together. The cost, I think, is somewhere around $21,000 or $22,000 for just the kit, and maybe $25,000 or $26,000 for the fully built aircraft.